What's up, guys? Welcome back for another video. I'm gonna go over some trades from today. So today was another break-even day. It wasn't what I planned, but at least I'm break-even. Slightly right off with commissions and everything, but it's not a bad day. I kind of immediately was in the hole right out the bat. So I was shorting VERU here mainly. My signal was the fact that it couldn't break above the volume weighted average price here. It was getting a lot of resistance at that level, and it just couldn't break above it at that time. So I was like, okay, well, let's get in for a short here around the $9 level, and I'll have like 950 as a stop. And unfortunately, what ended up happening was it basically pushed right above my stop. So I didn't have time to stop out, and it got halted. So almost immediately from this candle here, I was watching it, and it went 9.40, and then immediately to $10 and got halted. And I was like, what the hell? This is like almost the same thing that happened to me last week on Friday on FRSX, but in the opposite way. It was more like a candle like this, where I was buying, it was holding the VWAP, and I was buying for it to go higher, and then it immediately flushed. So that's kind of what happened on me here, but in the opposite way. It broke above the volume weighted average price and then just shot up immediately. Normally, if it breaks above the VWAP and then kind of consolidates a little bit, but then breaks down, it's still a short. But if it can hold above, then obviously it's a long. But so I held this thing through this through the halt at 10 o'clock, and then I held through this consolidation phase, knowing that if this broke above 11 or it broke, it could hold those levels. It's basically waiting for a pullback. I got this pullback, but then I could just see a ton of resistance at the 1070 level. So in my mind, it was like, okay, let's wait. If this breaks above that, I'll get out with a bigger loss. It's gonna suck, but I have a feeling more than likely this thing's gonna come back. So I waited for it to pull back so I could cover my short with still a pretty big loss, but not a terrible loss. It was kind of unfortunate, but almost immediately I was like, you know what, this is a short again. Like, look at these tails. These are obviously topping tails, showing you a ton of resistance in the 1050 area. Knowing that, I was basically like, look, this thing's going to be a short. At this level here, it basically looked like it was failing. So then I got back in just above the $10, 1010. Basically, my stop would be the top of this candle again, so 1080. So, coming in with like a 70-cent stop, waiting to see if this could hold above these levels, right? And it obviously showed you here kind of a reversal, rejection, two topping tails, kind of giving you the idea that 1050 was going to be the level of resistance. If it broke above this and then broke above this resistance line, I would have covered. It would have been an even shittier day. But at the same time, like the stock's not really moving on any crazy news. Like, it didn't have any, it had earnings the other day, which were all right, but nothing amazing. It's nothing, spectacular. So I figured, it was basically just the hype from right here when people saw that they could maybe pump it up above the VWAP, get a quick pump and dump. So this was the pump, and then you saw the dump, right? So I wanted to be in for the dump, which I was. So I covered that trade, basically giving back about 3/4 of what I lost here. And then I again saw resistance at the 950 level, so I took another short. This one was kind of one of those things where I was being a little aggressive, being a little greedy. I should have covered here at 9 when it hit like 905. It hit it for like a second, and then it immediately pulled back up to like 910, 915, and I was like, you know what? If this thing breaks 9, we're gonna have a flush back down to 862, maybe even below that level. So I wanted to be holding if that ended up happening. But what ended up happening is there ended up being a ton of support here. You can see these channels of support that were forming basically in this $9 range. So anywhere below 910, there seemed to be a ton of buying pressure. There was a ton of buyers. It just wasn't breaking below that level. So knowing that, I was kind of bummed that it didn't fill in this area here even. But then as it went higher, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna hold it, and hopefully we can break that back down towards 9, which it did. I covered about 925, just not wanting to get caught in this thing, because it's very choppy. It'll go down to 910 and then immediately push back up to 940 almost like instantly, right? So it's in this range between $9 and 950. It's definitely bouncing around in this range. Obviously, it might be a short for the rest of the day if you can short it in this 950 area and just hold it kind of like I was doing here. It's probably going to be a short for the rest of the day, but we don't know, right? You never know. This thing, like what happened here, all of a sudden you have 2.5 million shares of buying volume almost immediately, or I guess it was this candle here. So, almost 2 million shares of buying volume that just came in like out of nowhere, basically out of nowhere. Like, this looks like it's going to be a short if it, these topping tails at the volume weighted average price, showing that there's resistance, showing that it's having a hard time breaking, just like it did here. Kind of good indicators that it could be a short. So in that sense, there's not really much you could do. At the same time, I probably should have covered this the second it broke above the volume weighted average price. I probably should have covered, just hit market and just covered whatever price in here, but I just figured it would hit resistance and come back, which it did, but didn't give me kind of the move I was hoping for. Obviously, if I would have held into here, it would have been, I would have made more money, but I figured I would just cover and then get in another short. That way, when it did flush, I could catch the whole move. And it was an all right trade, but at the end of the day, it's kind of just a break-even trade, and I'm down with commissions. Basically 2 trades to make back what I lost in this one trade, and then covering the commissions, down. Not much, like a few bucks, but still, it's not very fun to to be in that position. Like, I was kind of bummed right out the bat, but then I'm like, I might just hold with this. It's not that I was wrong that it was a short. I was wrong. And this pattern here is pretty typical, that you will get a reversal, but a lot of people could say that this was curling. So, like, once it kind of had a reversal here, it started to curl up. So they could say that, oh, this was curling up. This was a reversal trend off this 862, which it ended up being. But at the same time, what happens with a lot of stocks, especially ones that don't have any significant news or catalyst, it'll come up, hit this level, reject like it looked like it was doing, like it did here, and then give you an immediate short back down below 860, back down to $8, giving you a nice short. So that was my thought process. That's what ended up happening for today. Those are my trades. Not like I said, nothing spectacular. Pretty much a break-even day. Wish it would have been better, but it wasn't. I'll probably be back at it tomorrow with another video. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if there's anything you want me to discuss or any strategies you want to ask any questions about. Feel free, leave them in the comments below. Please like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think, and have a great day.